Michael Jordan is one of the most iconic and influential athletes of all time. He is widely considered to be the greatest basketball player of all time, and his impact on the sport of basketball is undeniable. Jordan's career began in 1984 when he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. He quickly became a star, leading the Bulls to 6 NBA championships and winning 5 MVP awards. Jordan's success on the court was matched by his success off the court, as he became a global icon and one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. Jordan's career began at the University of North Carolina, where he was a standout player for the Tar Heels. He was named the ACC Player of the Year in 1984 and was a consensus All-American in both his sophomore and junior seasons. Jordan was then drafted by the Bulls with the 3rd overall pick in the 1984 NBA Draft. He quickly made an impact in the league, winning the Rookie of the Year award in 1985 and leading the Bulls to the playoffs in his second season. Jordan's career really took off in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He led the Bulls to 6 NBA championships in 8 years, winning the MVP award 5 times and becoming the first player to win 3 consecutive MVP awards. Jordan was also a 14-time All-Star and a 10-time All-NBA first-team selection. He was also named the Defensive Player of the Year in 1988 and was a 9-time All-Defensive first-team selection. Jordan's impact on the game of basketball was immense. He revolutionized the game with his athleticism and skill, and his style of play was emulated by many of the game's greatest players. Jordan was also a great leader, and his ability to motivate his teammates was a major factor in the Bulls' success. He was also a great ambassador for the game, appearing in numerous commercials and endorsements. Off the court, Jordan was just as influential. He was a global icon, and his Air Jordan brand of shoes and apparel was one of the most successful in the world. Jordan also became a successful businessman, owning a stake in the Charlotte Hornets and launching his own line of restaurants. Jordan's legacy is undeniable. He is widely considered to be the greatest basketball player of all time, and his impact on the game of basketball is still felt today. He was a great leader, a great ambassador for the game, and a great businessman. Jordan's career is a testament to his greatness, and his legacy will live on for generations to come. Kobe Bryant is one of the most iconic and beloved athletes of all time. He was a 5-time NBA champion, an 18-time All-Star, and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He was also one of the most influential players in the history of the game, and his impact on the sport of basketball will be felt for generations to come. Kobe Bryant was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on August 23, 1978. He was the youngest of 3 children and the only son of former NBA player Joe Bryant. Kobe was raised in a basketball-loving family, and his father was his biggest influence. From a young age, Kobe was determined to be the best basketball player he could be. He was a hard worker and a natural leader, and he quickly developed into one of the best players in the game. Kobe attended Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania, where he quickly became a star. He was named the Naismith High School Player of the Year in 1996, and he was selected 13th overall in the 1996 NBA draft by the Charlotte Hornets. He was then traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would spend the rest of his career. Kobe quickly established himself as one of the best players in the league. He was a tenacious defender and a prolific scorer, and he was known for his ability to take over games. He was also a great leader, and he was the driving force behind the Lakers' 3 consecutive championships from 2000-2002. Kobe was also a great teammate, and he was beloved by his fellow players. He was a mentor to many of the younger players on the team, and he was always willing to help them improve their game. He was also a great ambassador for the game of basketball, and he was always willing to give back to the community. Kobe was also a great family man. He was married to Vanessa Bryant, and they had 4 daughters together. Kobe was a devoted father, and he was always there for his family. He was also a great role model for his daughters, and he was always encouraging them to pursue their dreams. Kobe's career was tragically cut short in 2020 when he and his daughter Gianna were killed in a helicopter crash. The world mourned the loss of one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and his legacy will live on forever. Kobe Bryant was an incredible athlete and an even better person. He was a great leader, a great teammate, and a great father. He was an inspiration to millions of people around the world, and his impact on the game of basketball will never be forgotten. He will always be remembered as one of the greatest players of all time, and his legacy will live on forever. Magic Johnson is one of the most iconic figures in the history of basketball. He is a former professional basketball player, coach, and entrepreneur who is widely considered to be one of the greatest players of all time. He is best known for his time with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he won 5 NBA championships and 3 MVP awards. He was also a member of the 1992 United States Olympic Dream Team that won the gold medal. Magic Johnson was born on August 14, 1959 in Lansing, Michigan. He was the youngest of 3 children born to Irvin Sr. and Christine Johnson. His father was a General Motors assembly worker and his mother was a school custodian. Johnson was a natural athlete from a young age and was a star in both basketball and football in high school. He was heavily recruited by college basketball programs and chose to attend Michigan State University. At Michigan State, Johnson quickly established himself as one of the best players in the country. He led the Spartans to the NCAA championship in 1979 and was named the tournament's most outstanding player. After his sophomore year, Johnson declared for the NBA draft and was selected first overall by the Los Angeles Lakers. Johnson's impact on the Lakers was immediate. He was named the NBA Rookie of the Year in 1980 and led the team to the NBA Finals in his first season. The Lakers won the championship in 1980 and Johnson was named the Finals MVP. He would go on to lead the Lakers to 4 more championships in the 1980s and was named the NBA MVP 3 times. Johnson was also a member of the 1992 United States Olympic Dream Team that won the gold medal in Barcelona. He was the only amateur on the team and was the only player to start all 8 games. In 1991, Johnson announced that he had tested positive for HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. He retired from basketball shortly after and became an advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness. He also founded the Magic Johnson Foundation, which works to educate people about HIV/AIDS and to provide support for those living with the virus. In addition to his work with HIV/AIDS, Johnson has also been involved in numerous business ventures. He is the owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball team and is a part owner of the Los Angeles Sparks of the WNBA. He is also the chairman and CEO of Magic Johnson Enterprises, a company that invests in urban communities. Magic Johnson is one of the most influential figures in basketball history. He is a living legend who has used his fame and success to help others. He is an inspiration to millions of people around the world and his legacy will live on for generations to come. Tim Duncan is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA MVP, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, and 15-time NBA All-Star. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest power forwards of all time and is often referred to as the Big Fundamental, for his fundamental approach to the game. Tim Duncan was born in St. Croix, U.S., Virgin Islands on April 25, 1976. He was raised by his mother, Ione, a midwife and nurse, and his father, William, a mason. Duncan was a very talented athlete from a young age, excelling in basketball, swimming, and track and field. He was also a very good student, graduating from St. Dunstan's Episcopal High School with a 3.8 GPA. After high school, Duncan attended Wake Forest University, where he played college basketball for 4 years. He was a 2-time All-American and was named the ACC Player of the Year in his senior year. He also graduated with a degree in psychology. In 1997, Duncan was drafted by the San Antonio Spurs with the first overall pick in the NBA draft. He quickly established himself as one of the best players in the league, leading the Spurs to 5 NBA championships and 2 NBA MVP awards. He was also named to the All-NBA First Team 10 times and the All-Defensive First Team 8 times. Throughout his career, Duncan was known for his unselfishness and team-first attitude. He was a leader on and off the court, and was always willing to put the team's success ahead of his own. He was also known for his fundamental approach to the game, which earned him the nickname, the Big Fundamental. In 2016, Duncan announced his retirement from the NBA after 19 seasons. He finished his career with averages of 19.0 points, 10.8 rebounds, 3.0 assists, and 2.2 blocks per game. He is the Spurs' all-time leader in points, rebounds, blocks, and minutes played. Tim Duncan is one of the greatest players in NBA history. He was a leader on and off the court, and his fundamental approach to the game earned him the nickname, the Big Fundamental. He was a 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA MVP, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, and 15-time NBA All-Star. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest power forwards of all time and is a surefire Hall of Famer. Bill Russell is one of the most iconic figures in the history of sports. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and his impact on the game of basketball is still felt today. Russell was a dominant force in the NBA during the 1950s and 1960s, leading the Boston Celtics to 11 championships in 13 seasons. He was also a pioneer in the civil rights movement, becoming the first African American head coach in the NBA and the first African American player to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Born in 1934 in Monroe, Louisiana, Russell was the youngest of 5 children. His father, Charles Russell, was a construction worker and his mother, Katie Russell, was a homemaker. Russell was raised in Oakland, California, and attended McClemens High School, where he was a standout basketball player. He was recruited by the University of San Francisco, where he played college basketball and led the team to 2 NCAA championships in 1955 and 1956. After college, Russell was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1956. He quickly established himself as one of the best players in the league, leading the Celtics to 8 consecutive championships from 1959 to 1966. He was a dominant defensive player, averaging 22.5 rebounds per game during his career. He was also a great passer, averaging 4.3 assists per game. Off the court, Russell was a leader in the civil rights movement. He was the first African American player to be named MVP of the NBA, and he was the first African American head coach in the NBA. He was also an outspoken advocate for racial equality, speaking out against racism and discrimination in the NBA and in society. In addition to his on-court accomplishments, Russell was also a successful businessman. He founded the Russell Management Company, which provided financial and business advice to athletes. He also wrote several books, including Go Up for Glory, which chronicled his life and career. In 1975, Russell was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, becoming the first African American player to be inducted. He was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2011 for his contributions to the civil rights movement. Today, Russell is still remembered as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. His legacy lives on in the NBA, where he is remembered for his dominance on the court and his leadership off the court. He is an inspiration to many, and his impact on the game of basketball will never be forgotten. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is one of the most iconic and influential figures in the history of sports. He is a six-time NBA champion, a six-time NBA MVP, and a 19-time NBA All-Star. He is also the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, with 38,387 points. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was born on April 16, 1947 in New York City. He was raised in the Inwood neighborhood of Manhattan, and attended Power Memorial Academy, where he was a standout basketball player. He was heavily recruited by college basketball programs, and ultimately chose to attend UCLA, where he played for legendary coach John Wooden. At UCLA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a dominant force. He led the Bruins to 3 consecutive NCAA championships, and was named the NCAA Player of the Year in 1967 and 1969. He was also a 3-time All-American, and was named the most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament in 1967 and 1969. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was selected by the Milwaukee Bucks with the first overall pick in the 1969 NBA draft. He quickly established himself as one of the best players in the league, and was named the NBA Rookie of the Year in 1970. He was also named an All-Star in each of his first 6 seasons in the NBA. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in 1975, and he went on to have one of the greatest careers in NBA history. He led the Lakers to 5 NBA championships, and was named the NBA MVP a record 6 times. He was also a 19-time All-Star, and was named to the All-NBA First Team a record 10 times. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was also a pioneer off the court. He was an outspoken advocate for civil rights, and was a vocal critic of racism and injustice. He was also an active member of the Nation of Islam, and was a leader in the African American community. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired from the NBA in 1989, and was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1995. He has since become a successful author, and has written several books on basketball, race, and social justice. He has also served as a coach and mentor to many young basketball players, and has been a vocal advocate for social justice. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is one of the most influential figures in the history of sports. He is a 6-time NBA champion, a 6-time NBA MVP, and a 19-time NBA All-Star. He is also the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, with 38,387 points. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is also an outspoken advocate for civil rights, and has been a leader in the African American community. He is a true icon, and his legacy will live on for generations to come. Larry Bird is one of the most iconic figures in the history of sports. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and his legacy continues to live on today. Bird was born in West Baden Springs, Indiana, in 1956. He grew up in a small town and was the youngest of 4 children. His father was a factory worker and his mother was a homemaker. Bird was a natural athlete from a young age, and he excelled in all sports. He was especially talented in basketball, and he quickly became the star of his high school team. He was so good that he was offered a scholarship to Indiana State University, where he would go on to become one of the most decorated college basketball players of all time. Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, and he quickly became one of the most dominant players in the NBA. He was a 3-time MVP, a 12-time All-Star, and a 2-time NBA champion. He was also a master of the game, with an uncanny ability to read the court and make the right play. He was known for his deadly accurate shooting, and he was one of the first players to popularize the three-point shot. Off the court, Bird was known for his competitive spirit and his willingness to put in the extra work to get better. He was a fierce competitor who was never afraid to take on the best players in the league. He was also a leader, and he was instrumental in helping the Celtics win 3 championships in the 1980s. Bird was also a great ambassador for the game of basketball. He was a role model for young players, and he was always willing to help out his teammates. He was also a great ambassador for the city of Boston, and he was beloved by the fans. Bird retired in 1992, but his legacy lives on today. He is still considered one of the greatest players of all time, and his number 33 jersey has been retired by the Celtics. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1998, and he was named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. Today, Bird is still involved in the game of basketball. He is the president of basketball operations for the Indiana Pacers, and he is also a part owner of the Boston Celtics. He is also a mentor to many young players, and he is always willing to share his knowledge and experience with them. Larry Bird is one of the most iconic figures in the history of sports. He was a great player, a great leader, and a great ambassador for the game of basketball. His legacy will live on for generations to come, and he will always be remembered as one of the greatest players of all time. Chamberlain is one of the most iconic figures in the history of sports. He was a professional basketball player who played for the Philadelphia, San Francisco Warriors, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. He was a dominant force in the NBA, setting numerous records and winning 2 championships. He was also an Olympic gold medalist and a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. Wilt Chamberlain was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on August 21, 1936. He was the son of William and Olivia Chamberlain. He was a tall and lanky child, standing 6 feet tall by the time he was in the 7th grade. He was an excellent athlete, playing football, basketball, and track and field in high school. He was also a talented musician, playing the piano and saxophone. Chamberlain attended the University of Kansas, where he was a two-time All-American and led the Jayhawks to the 1957 NCAA championship. He was also a member of the gold medal-winning U.S. Olympic basketball team in 1960. After college, Chamberlain was drafted by the Philadelphia Warriors in the 1959 NBA draft. Chamberlain quickly established himself as one of the best players in the NBA. He was a dominant force in the paint, averaging 30.1 points and 22.9 rebounds per game during his career. He was also an excellent passer, averaging 4.4 assists per game. He was a 7-time NBA All-Star and was named the league's most valuable player in 1960 and 1966. Chamberlain set numerous records during his career, including the most points in a single game, 100, the most rebounds in a single game, 55, and the most consecutive games with at least 30 points, 65. He also holds the record for the most points in a single season, 4,029, and the most rebounds in a single season, 2,149. Chamberlain won 2 NBA championships during his career, both with the Philadelphia 76ers. He was also a member of the Los Angeles Lakers team that won the 1972 NBA championship. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1978. Chamberlain was an iconic figure in the history of sports. He was a dominant force in the NBA and set numerous records. He was also an Olympic gold medalist and a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. He was a larger-than-life figure who will always be remembered for his incredible accomplishments. LeBron James is one of the most iconic and successful athletes of all time. He is a 4-time NBA champion, 4-time MVP, and 3-time Finals MVP. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest basketball players of all time and has been compared to Michael Jordan. He is also one of the most influential athletes in the world, with a massive global following. LeBron James was born on December 30, 1984 in Akron, Ohio. He was raised by his mother, Gloria James, and his father, Anthony McClelland. LeBron was a natural athlete from a young age, and he was already playing basketball at the age of 9. He attended Vincent Street, Mary High School in Akron, Ohio, where he was a star player. He was named Ohio's Mr. Basketball 3 times and was named the USA Today High School Player of the Year twice. LeBron was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers with the first overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft. He quickly established himself as one of the best players in the league, and he was named the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2004. He led the Cavaliers to the playoffs in his first season and was named an All-Star in his second season. In the 2007-08 season, LeBron led the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. He was named the MVP of the regular season and the finals, and he was the first player in NBA history to average at least 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in a single season. The Cavaliers ultimately lost to the San Antonio Spurs in the finals, but LeBron had established himself as one of the best players in the league. In 2010, LeBron left the Cavaliers and signed with the Miami Heat. He joined forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to form the Big Three, and led the Heat to 4 consecutive NBA Finals appearances. He won 2 championships with the Heat in 2012 and 2013, and he was named the Finals MVP both times. In 2014, LeBron returned to the Cavaliers and led them to 4 consecutive NBA Finals appearances. He won his 3rd championship with the Cavaliers in 2016, and he was named the Finals MVP for the 3rd time. He also became the first player in NBA history to lead a team to a championship after trailing 3-1 in the finals. LeBron is currently playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he has led them to the NBA Finals in 2020. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest players of all time, and he is still playing at an elite level. He is a 4-time NBA champion, 4-time MVP, and 3-time Finals MVP. He is also one of the most influential athletes in the world, with a massive global following. LeBron James is an incredible athlete and an inspiration to millions of people around the world. He has achieved incredible success on the court, and he has used his platform to make a positive impact off the court. He is a role model for young athletes, and he is a living example of what hard work and dedication can achieve. LeBron James is one of the greatest athletes of all time, and his legacy will live on for generations to come. Hakeem Olajuwon is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He was born in Lagos, Nigeria in 1963 and moved to the United States in 1980 to attend the University of Houston. He was drafted by the Houston Rockets in 1984 and went on to have a Hall of Fame career. He was a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. He was also named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. Olajuwon was known for his incredible athleticism and skill on the court. He was a dominant force in the paint, using his size and strength to overpower opponents. He was also a great shot blocker and rebounder, averaging 3.1 blocks and 11.1 rebounds per game during his career. He was also a great passer, averaging 3.6 assists per game. He was a great scorer as well, averaging 21.8 points per game during his career. Olajuwon was also known for his signature move, the Dream Shake. This move was a combination of a spin move and a jump shot that he used to great effect. He would spin around his defender and then shoot a jump shot over them. This move was so effective that it was almost impossible to defend against. Off the court, Olajuwon was known for his philanthropy. He was a strong supporter of the Houston community, donating money to various charities and causes. He also established the Hakeem Olajuwon Foundation, which provides educational and recreational opportunities for underprivileged children in Houston. Olajuwon's legacy is one of greatness. He was a dominant force on the court and a great role model off the court. He was a two-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. He was also named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. He was a great scorer, rebounder, shot blocker, and passer. He was also known for his signature move, the Dream Shake. He was a great philanthropist, donating money to various charities and causes. He was a great role model for the Houston community and a great ambassador for the game of basketball. Hakeem Olajuwon was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He was a dominant force on the court and a great role model off the court. He was a two-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP, and a 12-time NBA All-Star. He was also named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. He was a great scorer, rebounder, shot blocker, and passer. He was also known for his signature move, the Dream Shake. He was a great philanthropist, donating money to various charities and causes. He was a great role model for the Houston community and a great ambassador for the game of basketball. Hakeem Olajuwon will always be remembered as one of the greatest basketball players of all time.